Hey everyone, today we are diving into a topic that honestly feels like it's been pulled straight out of a science fiction movie, except it's happening right now. We're talking about the massive collision between artificial intelligence and Hollywood, and this goes way beyond just fancy special effects. We're looking at a technological wave that's so big, it might just completely change what it even means to be a movie star. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at the mind-blowing technology that's already here, today. Then, we're going to explore, what does this actually mean for actors? From there, we'll get into the high-stakes game the studios are playing with their contracts. And then, this is where it gets weird. We'll uncover a whole new market for digital ghosts. And finally, we'll wrap up by asking a huge question: what happens to the value of real when pretty much anything can be faked? So let's just start with a big provocative question right out of the gate. Is the era of the Hollywood actor, as we've always known it, coming to an end? For decades, this was just something to think about, a hypothetical for some far-off future. But as you're about to see, that future isn't just knocking on the door, it's kicking it down, and it's arriving way faster than anyone in the industry was ready for. And I really want to be crystal clear about this. This is not a prediction. The technology is here right now, today. In fact, some experts are saying that AI capabilities are going to get 10 times more powerful this year alone. Just think about that. We are riding an exponential curve, and the tools that can fundamentally upend the entire filmmaking process are already out there. So let's get into our first section and look at what this tech actually is. And I want you to forget about the clunky, kind of fake-looking CGI from a few years ago. What we're talking about today is something else entirely. It's immediate, it's seamless, and it is revolutionary. The real game changer here is what we call real-time AI avatars. I want you to picture this. A talented actor sits in a studio chair, making faces, delivering lines, and with almost zero delay, we're talking milliseconds, their every single expression, every little eye twitch, every nuance is perfectly mapped onto a photorealistic digital face on a screen. And that face can be anyone: a living celebrity, a historical figure like Abraham Lincoln, or a character that's been completely made up. The performer is basically a high-tech puppeteer, and the avatar is their perfectly responsive digital marionette. This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures the power of this leap forward. All the physical limitations that used to define an actor's career, they're just dissolving. You don't have to look the part anymore. You just have to be able to act the part. The wall between a performer and any character they could possibly imagine is just vanishing. So this obviously brings us to a gigantic question. If any actor can wear any face, what happens to the whole idea of a movie star? An identity that for 100 years has been built almost entirely on a specific look, a specific marketable face. What we're looking at here is a massive paradigm shift. I mean, look at this. The old Hollywood model was completely built on physical appearance. A star's face was their #1 asset. But this new AI model, it flips the whole thing on its head. It prioritizes pure, raw acting talent above all else. A brilliant character actor, someone who maybe doesn't have that classic Hollywood look, could now wear the face of a superstar and give the performance of a lifetime. The asset is no longer the face. It's the soul of the performance behind it. And think about what this means for the actors themselves, for the craft. Jim Carrey famously said the makeup for the Grinch was like being buried alive every single day. It was literally torture. Now imagine achieving that exact same transformation, or maybe one that's even more complex, instantly, with just the click of a button. This isn't just about saving time and money. This digital makeup could free actors from these incredibly painful, grueling physical ordeals and let them focus 100% on what really matters: the performance. So you've got this explosion of technology happening, but it's slamming right into a very old school, very slow-moving conflict: Hollywood union negotiations. And believe me, the timing could not be more critical. So, right now, as we speak, there are reports that studio producers are trying to push the standard 3-year union contracts all the way to 5 years. Why? Well, they're trying to lock in the rules of the game for as long as possible. And this leads to the $100 billion question, doesn't it? What happens when you sign a 5-year contract in a world where the technology gets 10 times more powerful every single year? You end up with this colossal mismatch between the snail's pace of legal negotiations and the light speed of technological change. The rules they're fighting over today could be completely, utterly irrelevant in just a year or two. All right, let's follow the money, because this is where things start to get really wild. This technology isn't just a tool for making movies, it's creating an entirely new and frankly kind of unbelievable class of financial assets. What we could see is a brand new gold rush. Just imagine studios and investment firms scrambling to buy up the likeness rights of Hollywood's most beloved, iconic stars who are no longer with us. John Wayne could saddle up for one more Western. Audrey Hepburn could be the star of a new romantic comedy. Their legacies, their very images, would become renewable digital assets, capable of generating money forever. And of course, where there's a new asset, a whole new industry will pop up to manage it. You can just picture it, a likeness rights agency. Their entire business would be managing a portfolio of digital people. They would broker deals for movie roles, negotiate advertising campaigns, and collect royalties for the estates. They would essentially become the powerful gatekeepers for the ghosts of Hollywood's past, present, and future. So when our digital world can be perfectly crafted, when any performance can be convincingly faked, it kind of forces us to step back and think about our relationship with reality itself. What happens to our search for authenticity? Now, here's a fascinating potential outcome, a powerful counter-reaction you might not expect. As our screens become saturated with these flawless digital creations, the value of something raw, something live, something that's happening right in front of you with real human beings, that value could skyrocket. Things like Broadway shows, live concerts, even your local community theater. They might not just survive this, they could actually thrive. They could become the new premium luxury in a world filled with digital copies. Real, unedited authenticity could become the ultimate status symbol. And this gets right to the heart of the resistance, the core argument against all of this. Many people will tell you that for all of its technical magic, AI can only ever be an imitation. It can mimic emotion, sure, but it can't actually feel it. It can replicate a great performance, but it can't create that unpredictable, intangible thing we call the human spark, that little bit of chaos and soul that makes a performance truly unforgettable. But, and this is a really tough counterpoint, will the next generation of audiences even care about that spark? Think about it. For viewers who grew up on photorealistic video games and seamless CGI blockbusters, the line between what's real and what's rendered is already incredibly blurry. Their whole definition of what feels authentic might be completely different from ours. And so that's where we're left. This whole revolution in Hollywood is really just a preview of a much, much bigger question for all of us. In a future where AI can convincingly generate text, images, music, and performances, how do we even begin to define what's real anymore? And maybe more importantly, what price will we be willing to pay for it? That's something we are all going to have to figure out, and soon.